Welcome to episode number 272, where I'm taking a deep dive into the Ayurvedic teachings on the Srotas or channels of the body. And in particular, we're looking at the Vaha Srotas, the food channel. I take you on a journey through this food channel and the doshas and subdoshas involved. And as always, is fascinating wisdom from Ayurveda. So please stay tuned. Hi there, I'm your host Colette, and on this podcast I will be sharing the teachings of Ayurveda, yoga, and holistic health practices. Now, if you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend checking out the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. Thanks for listening, and now here's a new episode. This episode is sponsored by Kerala Ayurveda. Would you like to learn more about the Srotas, doshas, subdoshas, and other Ayurvedic principles for health? Kerala Academy offers online and in-person training to guide your personal health journey and help you support others in meeting their wellness goals. Spring trainings begin this April, and now is the best time to join for early savings. To learn more, visit keralaayurveda.us/courses. And for $100 off tuition, use the code ELEMENTS100 when you join a beginner training. And you'll find all that info in the show notes. Hi there, and welcome back to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. It's me, Colette, today for a solo episode. And first of all, I have to thank you so much for your feedback to the podcast survey that I sent out over the holidays. It has been really helpful in hearing what types of episodes you like and what you want to hear more of. I have used this info in my podcast planning for this year, so I really appreciate those of you who took the time to do that. I also have to say I was really touched by all the positive feedback, and it really gives me such a boost as I go into year 6 of this podcast. Now, deep dives were a much requested type of episode. And so today I'm doing a deep dive into the Srotas or the channels of the body and how they interact with the doshas and subdoshas. First of all, the Srotas are channels in the body through which the doshas of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha move. There are many types of Srotas in the body, from the subtle energetic channels called nadis to the largest channel in the body, the Vaha Srotas, the gastrointestinal tract. Now, according to Charaka, there are 13 main internal channels or Srotas in the body. And as I take you through these 13 channels, you'll hear me use the word Vaha, which simply means that which carries. So let me start by listing the 13 channels, and then we're going to take that deep dive. So first of all, there are 3 input channels. Vaha, so channels carrying food. Prana Vaha, channels carrying air, the respiratory system. And Vaha, channels carrying water and controlling water metabolism. Then there are 7 channels maintaining our health, and these are the dhatus or the tissues of the body. And that's Rasa Vaha, the channel carrying rasa, the plasma, lymph, the elemental juice from the food we eat. Rakta Vaha, channels carrying blood. Mamsa Vaha, channels carrying muscle tissue. Meda Vaha, channels carrying fat tissue. Ashti Vaha, channels transporting the bone tissue. Maja Vaha, channels carrying the bone marrow and nervous tissue. And Shukra Vaha, channels carrying the reproductive tissue. And finally, there are 3 channels of elimination. Parisha Vaha, channels carrying stools out of the body. Mutra Vaha, channels carrying urine out of the body. And Shveta Vaha, channels carrying the sweat. So those are the 13 major channels in the body. Plus, there's also the channel of the mind, Mano Vaha Srotas, where there is inflow through the senses and outflow through the organs of action. And women have 3 extra channels. 1 channel obviously in each breast for lactation or breast milk, and that's Stanya, Vaha Srotas. And the 3rd one there is the cervical opening or the birth canal, called Raja Vaha Srotas. So as you can see from this list, some channels are very obvious, like the food channel, the gastrointestinal tract. However, some channels are not so obvious. For example, in the case of the muscle, fat, or bone channels, Ayurveda tells us that the Srotas are both structural and functional. Some can be both, and some are functional only. And even though they may not be obvious channels, they do exist. Now today, I want to talk about Vaha Srotas. And Ana means food, and as we know, Vaha means that which carries. So this is the channel carrying food, which is one of the 3 input channels. The root of Vaha Srotas is the esophagus and the stomach, with the channel starting at the mouth and it ends at the small intestine. And of course, it's part of the gastrointestinal tract. So let's take you on a journey through the Vaha Srotas, which contains the subdoshas of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And they are bodhaka Kapha, prana vayu, sadhaka Pitta, kledaka Kapha, samana vayu, pachaka Pitta, ranjaka Pitta, and apana vayu, all of which are involved along the way. Now, if your head is exploding from that list and you're not familiar with these subdoshas at all, well then I highly recommend listening to the following episodes where I did a deep dive into the doshas and their subdoshas. So those 3 episodes are episode number 103, the subdoshas of Vata, episode number 105, the subdoshas of Pitta, and episode number 107, the subdoshas of Kapha. Listening to those first will really give you a good understanding of the subdoshas. But as a quick reminder, I want you to keep in mind the following as I talk about these subdoshas on this journey through the Vaha Srotas. So number 1, Vata is the energy of action, movement, and transportation in the body. Pitta is the energy of transformation, conversion, and digestion. And Kapha is the energy of construction, lubrication, and nourishment. Okay, so let's begin the journey through Vaha Srotas, which starts in the mouth with the teeth for chewing and the tongue for tasting. Bodhaka Kapha, which is a subdosha of Kapha, is located in the mouth and it's present in saliva. When the food is chewed, it's mixed with enzymes in the saliva, which provides lubrication and helps us to taste the food by sending a message via the taste buds to the brain, which stimulates prana vayu, a subdosha of Vata, in the hunger center of the brain, helping us to perceive the taste. Along with sadhaka Pitta, a subdosha of Pitta, which helps us to transform the sensation into comprehension. This is where digestion begins, as this perception of taste via bodhaka Kapha, prana vayu, and sadhaka Pitta has a direct action on the doshas. The taste of food also stimulates our main agni, or digestive fire, which is jatara agni in the stomach. Prana vayu is responsible for the movement of this partially digested food down into the esophagus and stomach to mix with kledaka Kapha for further digestion. And so the next step is kledaka Kapha, which is a subdosha of Kapha and present in the stomach, and it has a liquid and slimy quality which helps to cook and liquefy the food, breaking it down into smaller molecules where jatara agni, our main digestive fire, comes into contact with each food molecule. Pachaka Pitta is present here in the form of hydrochloric acid, and samana vayu, a subdosha of Vata, which helps to churn the food and move the food into the first part of the small intestine, the duodenum. Digestion in the duodenum is governed by pachaka Pitta, the hydrochloric acid, samana vayu, which governs digestion, absorption, and assimilation, and ranjaka Pitta, a subdosha of Pitta, which is present in the bile from the gallbladder, and kloma agni, the pancreatic juices. Samana vayu and apana vayu, both subdoshas of Vata, move the food now along the small intestine into the large intestine. Apana vayu is then responsible for the downward movement of the waste through the large intestine and out of the body. And this is where we move into Purisha Vaha, the channel carrying stools out of body. And that's another topic for another day. So that's the journey of food through Ana Vaha Srotas, through the food channel. And one of the ways of determining the health of Ana Vaha Srotas is by examining the tongue. Many imbalances in the body can be determined by examining the tongue, as the tongue is a map of all the organs of the body. If there's a heavy coating of ama or toxins on the back of the tongue, then this indicates an accumulation of ama or toxins in the colon. If there's ama along the central part of the tongue, this shows ama or toxins along the GI tract. And if there's indentation marks along the sides of the tongue, this shows a lack of absorption. Of course, along with tongue diagnosis, all the channels need to be evaluated along with the doshas and subdoshas. Ana Vaha Srotas is an input channel, and therefore it receives energy from the outside in that water, food, and air. The quality of these inputs is of paramount importance to the structure and functioning of this Srotas. The root of Ana Vaha Srotas is the esophagus and the stomach, with the passage being the gastrointestinal tract, starting at the lips through to the junction of the small and large intestines. Now, when nature flows through the Srotas, we have good health. However, when the Srotas are not flowing properly, our health is affected. I mentioned earlier that the doshas of Vata, Pitta and Kapha flow through these channels throughout the body. And when our doshas and subdoshas are affected by diet or lifestyle or relationship or emotions or stress, this will in turn affect the function of the Srotas or the channels of our body. And so the Srotas, these channels, are made up of dhatus, tissues. And it's the Srotas, the channels of the body, that nourish the dhatus. If a dhatu or Srotas is defective, it can affect the structure and the function of that tissue or channel. And here are some general examples of how that could happen. If Vata or its subdoshas are affected, it could manifest in a degenerative condition. If Pitta or subdoshas are aggravated, it could manifest into an inflammatory condition. And if Kapha or subdoshas are affected, it could manifest into a congestive condition or a condition of obstruction in the channels. There are 4 types of imbalances in the Srotas, and they are an overflow or excess flow of the channel. So in the case of the channel we're looking at today, Ana Vaha Srotas, this could show up in vomiting, this overflow of the channel. Another imbalance in the Srotas could be stagnation or accumulation. And in Ana Vaha or the food channel, this could show up as distension or colic pain in the abdomen or even an aversion to food. Another type of imbalance in the Srotas could be dilation or excess growth of the Srotas, and this could show up as a tumor where there's an extra growth of the dhatus or tissues. And the final type of imbalance could be a false channel or Srotas. And in the food channel, this could manifest as an ulcer where there's a perforation of the tissue. So there's a channel showing up that should not be there. There can be many causes for imbalance of the Ana Vaha Srotas, as I just mentioned, and Charaka specifically mentions the following: untimely intake of food, unwholesome food or improper combinations of food, or disturbance of the agni or the digestive fire. Therefore, understanding your unique constitution and knowing what to eat, when to eat, living in tune with the circadian rhythms, and having morning and evening self-care practices to provide a stable foundation for your day, along with understanding what exercise is best for your unique mind-body type, taking into consideration your age, the time of day, and your stress levels. Having these foundations in place are the key factors in preventing imbalances in the Srotas and maintaining good health. but it also saves you time and energy as you're not making all these micro decisions each day, which can not only result in decision fatigue, but also the loss of vital energy needed for other tasks. Now, if you would like support on your journey, check out my online services, as this is what I offer in my online consultations. I will examine the health of your body and mind, making sure that your digestive fire is working efficiently and determining if there are any current imbalances that need to be addressed. I also educate you on your unique mind-body type, on the subtle signs of imbalances in your body. And I also put together a strategy for your diet, your lifestyle, your exercise, your self-care, and your mindfulness practices that are tailored to you and your lifestyle, making sure it's realistic and easy for you to implement. Now, if you prefer to work alone, I offer a 28-day self-paced daily habits for a holistic health program, which educates you on these foundational practices and helps you to implement them into your lifestyle. In this program, I cover how to structure your day to flow with the daily energy cycles, the circadian rhythms, rather than going against them and suffering. I talk about the mental gunas, the qualities of the mind, and how to maintain positive mental health. I talk about the foundations of Ayurvedic healing and how to become your own healer. And I talk about connecting to your true nature, your intuition, which really helps to guide you in living a positive and fulfilling life. This 28-day self-paced online course will consist of a short recorded daily webinar. It's about 10 to 15 minutes long, and it provides you with education and guidance on implementing these positive practices into your life. You'll also get yoga videos tailored to each dosha type, grounding for the Vata dosha, calming and cooling for the Pitta dosha, and energizing for the Kapha dosha. There's a meditation tutorial, affirmations, and visualizations also for each dosha type. So we work a lot with these mindfulness practices during this program. There's an instructional pranayama tutorial of the various types of breathing practices for each dosha. And you also get worksheets to track your progress. So there you go. That's your deep dive into Vaha Srotas and some support if you need it. I want to keep these episodes short because there's a lot of information and it can get overwhelming at times. So I hope you found this information helpful. If you think it would be interesting to family or friends, please share it with them so we can spread this wonderful wisdom of Ayurveda. And if you haven't subscribed or followed the podcast, please do so the new episodes will automatically download for you. And if you would like to rate and review the podcast, I would really appreciate that. You can find me on social media under Elements Healing and Wellbeing on Instagram and Facebook. And thank you for your support. Until next time, take good care of yourself, be well, and bye for now. Slán go fóill.